So I was on Twitter today, and what's this? Oh, I see. I was on Twitter today, and people were arguing whether or not Kid Buu was stronger than Buuhan. And you know, Buuhan is the end result of Majin Buu absorbing like Piccolo, Gotenks, Gohan, or whatever. Because there are people out there that still believe that Kid Buu is the strongest of the Boos, when that's just not the case. Now, I know there was like certain dialogue where they were like, he's the most dangerous because he's the most reckless and unpredictable. But that's being the most dangerous and unpredictable doesn't mean the strongest. It just means that his unpredictable, how unpredictable he is, how crazy he was, made him a much bigger threat. It's kind of like you look at someone like Frieza. Frieza was obviously as strong as he was. He wasn't like a complete psychopath like a Kid Buu. Frieza wasn't just blowing up planets randomly. You know, he had an empire. He had an army. Like, there was a method to what he was doing. He raised the army. He was conquering planets. He was making, like, Frieza was making money. Taking over the galaxy, right? Kid Buu wasn't about none of that shit. He was just about blowing shit up. And that's what made him so dangerous. But I was following this thread on Twitter or X, and just following along with the arguments and whatnot. I posted a couple times, and before I left that particular thread, I put together this infographic real quick, right? So let me show you guys. So this is my infographic here. Let me just see if I can lock these up so I don't mess up anything. Hold up, there we go. Okay. So this is my Kid Buu versus Buuhan infographic. Let me break it down real quick. Since we here, we chilling out, we having some fun, right? So you see here, we got part one. Kid Buu with Bibbidi, ancestor of Bobbidi. This is Buu at his weakest, other than the evil and fat Buu splits. So this right here is a controversial statement, right? Oh, Kid Buu weak? Well, I'm not saying Kid Buu is weak, but this is him at his weakest. This is his base form with no fusions whatsoever, right? Still the most powerful monster in the galaxy, but this is him at his absolute weakest. Then you remember, under the control of Bibbidi, he went and attacked the Kai's planet. Kid Buu attacks the Kais, defeating and absorbing them one by one, becoming more powerful each time, right? And so he's fighting the Kais on their planets, and he's absorbing them and becoming stronger. But he fucks up when he absorbs the Grand Kai. Buu absorbs the Grand Kai, but his heart is so pure that it greatly dilutes his evil ways, making him stronger but less destructive. And I think, again, it's hard for people to wrap their head around the fact that Fat Buu was more than likely even stronger than Kid Buu. And I understand certain, like, I'm going to explain this, right? Because I know what people will say. If Fat Buu was stronger than Kid Buu, why was Vegeta able to do more damage against Fat Buu than Kid Buu? And I think, one, we got to establish this. People feel like Akira Toriyama is this genius writer where everything was planned out ahead of time. And that's not the case. Akira Toriyama and a lot of manga authors, it's known that they work under a tight deadline where they have to put out a new chapter like every week or something. So they don't have a lot of time to plan ahead. They retcon things. Certain things just don't make sense. That's number one. But also, when you think about it, look at the end result of Vegeta versus Fat Buu, right? Vegeta did manage to get more hits in on him, and then he ended up blowing himself up to like stop him for a while. But the end result, he ended up reforming and being as good as new. So ultimately, everything that Vegeta did against Fat Buu didn't matter any more than what he was able to do against Kid Buu. And I'll admit, right here, I'm using a pinch of head canon, but it makes sense. If Fat Boo's evil ways were so greatly diluted, that would kind of explain why he didn't fight as aggressively against Vegeta. You remember he was kind of just letting himself get hit, like beat up a little bit. Then he started fighting back. Kid Buu wasn't gonna do that. He just like, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna kill you right now. So it still kind of makes sense because either way, Vegeta didn't do anything of substance against either Buu, right? It just he got more hits than against Fat Buu because Fat Buu was more like stupid and naive and didn't give a fuck about nothing. So then Boo's evil side splits from the good, defeats him, and absorbs him. This is basically the evil side gaining control of the power gained so far. So if you think about it, when he splits from his evil side and they do battle, the problem was before that, the good nature of this post-Grand Kai Buu was sort of taking over. Remember, he was shacking up with Hercule and the dog. And when the dog got killed, it triggered something within Fat Buu that caused the evil in him to come out. They fought and the evil side won. And so now my belief, this is just, again, this is just my headcanon. I feel like Super Buu is probably just as strong as Fat Buu. I think it was more so a mental shift, if anything. Because if you notice, Super Buu was more like evil and he was like, let me go do evil shit. Whereas Fat Buu had to be directed by Babidi. And once he got distracted by Hercule and the dog, he wasn't even thinking about fighting anymore. So I feel like this was more like a personality shift than like a bit power boost. And so here, this version of Buu goes on to absorb Gotenks, Piccolo, and Gohan, gaining immeasurable strength. And this is considered to be his most powerful form. And I think there's an important detail here too. Because again, I think people would feel like, oh, when he absorbed the Grand Kai and became fat, he probably became weaker. But it doesn't make sense because that would mean that when he absorbed Piccolo, wouldn't he have become weaker because Piccolo was so weak compared to everybody else that he was absorbing? But no, he just gained Piccolo's intellect and sense of like battle strategy. So that kind of proves that it doesn't matter if he absorbs somebody who's like weaker compared to the other absorptions. He just gets like the benefits of what they brought in terms of fighting. And so he absorbs Gotenks, Piccolo, and Gohan, and now you have Buuhan. Vegeta and Goku fuse to match his strength, but get absorbed as well. I forgot if they got absorbed intentionally or if it was just an accident, but they get absorbed. And while they were inside, they removed everyone he absorbed, including Fat Buu. And so at this point, with the removal of Fat Buu, and Fat Buu is basically the culmination of the Kai absorptions. They remove the Z Fighters and Fat Buu. Now all of his added powers are gone and he's back to base form. Kid Buu. Kid Buu fights Fat Buu, but Fat Buu is essentially the sum of the power he gained from the Kai, so isn't strong enough to defeat him. And then at the end, Goku fights Kid Buu, but both are far weaker than their fused versions, Vegito and Buuhan respectively, making for a fair fight of both warriors' own power. That is the official Chad Marco why Kid Buu is weaker than Buuhan, and even a lot of the other versions of Buu. Most other, I would say the only versions of Buu that he's stronger than is probably right here. When they split up, because the Fat Buu that we know is really just the combination of the powers that he gained from the Kais, which wouldn't be enough to defeat him. And the evil Buu is just like his evil essence. And I would say like those are probably like the two weakest versions of Buu that we ever see in the anime or the manga. But that's about it. And all the other forms, I'm pretty sure were stronger than him. But I think what happens is people can't really wrap their head around the idea that the final boss form is weaker than the previous forms. But that's just the way that it was written, you know? Sorry I had to nerd out there. But I specifically wanted to do that because I want to actually clip that for later and put it on YouTube so I can make people mad.